Hello there! Wow, we're just, oh boy, we're hot off the presses right now. We actually just finished recording the first part of KOTOR. We're back with the second part of KOTOR, and this is exciting because, with KOTOR 1, Jacob and I, well, first of all, hi, I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
Welcome back to KOTOR Part 2. We're a little excited now because with the KOTOR Part 1, Jacob and I watched it separately. KOTOR Part 2, I'm really excited about because we just watched it together.
Bless you.
Exciting stuff's happened in this.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
First, let me talk. Let's go back to the 30-minute mark and the bit, and so, we get to see the Undercity. Now, there's like 3 layers of Taurus. Upper City, Lower City, Undercity.
Are we in the lower city normally?
We're kind of bounced between the upper and the lower.
The Undercity is the one that never sees light.
Yes.
The one with the rock ghouls.
Yes, the one with the rock ghouls.
Cool.
I remember when I played KOTOR 1 for the first time, they creeped the crap out of me because they're pretty creepy. We didn't get to see a lot of we see that people in the Undercity never see the sunlight.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know, I find that fascinating. Personally, I think it's really kind of interesting to see what people who never see the sunlight act like.
Yeah.
Now
they're pretty normal. I mean, from what we see in the show.
Now when I was playing KOTOR, we see actually in this version of KOTOR we see Revan and Carth help someone be rescued by rescued from the rock ghouls. But in my version, they didn't get when I played KOTOR, they didn't get rescued. So I was hoping we were gonna have a good talk about what a rock ghoul is.
All right. Let's do it. Can you tell me what a rock ghoul is?
Yes, I can, because it spreads through Legends, actually. It's in KOTOR, it's in, like, original Trilogy era stuff, and it's in Legacy. The rock ghoul plague was created by a dark side amulet called the Myrrh Talisman.
Dark side amulet called the Myrrh Talisman.
The Myrrh Talisman created the rock ghoul plague. What the rock ghoul plague does is, at some point, after being infected for an amount of time, the human gets turned into a rock ghoul and can't turn back.
Wow, okay. So they mutate?
Yeah, it's a mutation.
Bloodthirsty cannibal monster?
Yep.
Wow, that is a lot.
Goodness
gracious.
Yes, I'm going to here we go. Here's the page about rock ghouls.
Jeez, that is an ugly mug.
Yes, the Sith Lord Carnus Myrrh created the Myrrh Talisman.
They look like bald monkeys.
Yes, they're
hairless monkeys. Gracious.
They're not great. And they become like bloodthirsty monsters. Yeah. So that's interesting. It's very interesting fact from Wikipedia over here. By the time of the Jedi Civil War, it was estimated that up to 60 million beings on Taris had been infected. Wow. 60 million rock ghouls.
Imagine 60. Wow.
60 million. To put that in perspective, let me just see.
Wow.
To put that in perspective, the population of the United States of America right now is 327 million. 327 million divided by 60, yeah. That is about 5.5... No, that's not correct. That's not right. It's about... Yeah, I think so. No, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, it's like a fifth of America being a rock ghoul. Maybe I did the math wrong, but a fifth of America being a rock ghoul.
Wait, let's do that math. Wait. 60 times 6, 360. The U.S. population is...
like 327 million.
So it's like a little over a fifth of America being a rock ghoul.
That's incredibly creepy. That is ridiculously creepy.
Wait. Do we know what the
let's see.
Oh, we don't need to know what the population is. That makes sense. The analogy makes sense. Okay.
Let's get another example. The population of the UK is 66 million. That's like almost all of England being
rock the entire population of the England being rock ghouls.
That's creepy. Okay, now that we've dug ourselves into that hole, we find out that Zalbar has been captured by Gamorrean slavers.
Yes.
Wookiee slavery is a common practice in the galaxy, even up to the times of the Empire and the First Order. We see that, especially, Zalbar's captured by Gamorreans, but Jacob, can you tell our viewers what's the most likely captor of Wookiee?
I would say the most likely captor is a Trandoshan.
I was going to say Trandoshan. Because the Wookiees and the Trandoshans have a millennia-old rivalry, and when we get to the Kashyyyk part, we might see some Trandoshans on Kashyyyk, probably not, but we might see some Trandoshans on Kashyyyk for the rip-off Lion King part. What was I going to say? So, yeah, we're traveling... Oh, yeah, remember this woman down here, Sherdra, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or do the random people we meet actually have more personality than our actual main characters? It's actually kind of sad. We go into these sewers, and these sewers, they're a noisy place. They're a dangerous place. We fight a Rancor down here. We see the Rancor down here. We fight this Rancor.
Yeah.
And it's scary, man. It's scary.
Yeah.
I remember fighting that Rancor. And then we infiltrate our Black Volcar base. Mm-hmm. And then we blow everyone up to get the prototype accelerator. And then we go back. My favorite part about when we go back, everyone is super gung-ho about whether this thing's going to work or not. They're like, yeah, sure, it's going to work, except for if it doesn't.
It's going to work. They're going to do it.
Except for if it doesn't. If it doesn't, you're going to be dead. But who cares about that? You don't work for us anyway. Yeah. Except for the times when you do. It's like, guys, make up your mind. Does this guy work for you or does he not? Do you care about him being dead or do you not? It's very inconsistent there. But what I gotta talk about, what we have to talk about, the swoop race.
The swoop race.
Only one thought about the swoop race. Say it with me
right
now. Say it with me now.
Now this is pod racing.
It was riveting. It was so exciting, except for the fact that it was a straight course.
I mean, I wasn't actually expecting there to be a...
I mean, there were obstacles, but it was a straight course.
I wasn't expecting it to even be part of the gameplay. I thought it was going to be some kind of...
like the gameplay, and then it would cut to the after the race. We actually saw the race both times.
Yeah. That's true. Which was I didn't even think that there would be, like, in the game, a race. I thought it would be, I don't know, some kind of dice roll or...
Nope.
So I was impressed, but at the same time...
I was impressed but disappointed. It was like the race, and then of course, what do we get to? We get to,
Oh, the next flashback?
No, I was gonna go with, the Black Volcars think that Revan cheated. Which he didn't. Well, he technically did. Okay, verdict right now.
Yeah.
Did Revan cheat? I'm saying no.
I mean, I don't think so. Because anyone could have came up with a...
I mean, he had the prototype accelerator.
Yeah.
That is true. We're not saying it's not true. But at the same time, it's like... You know, who knows?
Yeah, okay.
It seems very, it seems ambiguous whether he won the race. And then, Bastila, out of absolutely nowhere, just rescues herself.
Yeah.
I got very Leia-esque vibes from this. You know,
This is some rescue. You came in here, didn't you have a plan for getting out?
You know, I got very Leia-esque vibes from Bastila.
Yeah, no. Bastila, I wouldn't say that, but she's, I don't know. She's pretty She's pretty sassy.
I remember
she definitely can cop an attitude. That is
absolutely.
And you're telling me she's actually a Padawan.
Yes, this guy
She's
Jacob just
actually
figured
a
out
Padawan.
that Bastel's a Padawan. Yeah, she doesn't act like it. She acts like she's a member. She acts like she's like the Grandmaster of the Order. No, she's just a Padawan. By the way, remember when I said last time I'll probably put a clip from last time. I'm like, I'm so amazed that one Jedi could influence this war, right?
Yeah.
It's a Padawan that's influencing this war.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're telling me that
maybe
the
it's
most
a really
powerful
special-
battle meditation user in the entire Jedi Order is a Padawan. No, that doesn't add up.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a really hard ability to
Yeah. It's just so interesting. It's like... I think one of the messages that we're getting from KOTOR
Yeah.
is... And it always appears in Star Wars a lot.
Yeah.
It's a very original trilogy-esque message. It appears in the sequel trilogy, it appears in the prequel trilogy a little bit, mostly in the original sequel trilogies. The kind of people who affect a war are not the kind of people who you think would affect a war.
Yeah.
It's not the Jedi Grandmaster, it's just some Padawan. It's not a general in the army, it's just some soldier.
Yeah.
It's not these grand pilots. No, it's a 14-year-old, Twi'lek and a Wookiee. You know, it's not like these grand generals of the Rebel Alliance. It's a farm boy.
Well, I think it's kind of
Well, actually, that one doesn't really work because they're both the children of Vader. But
I think it's kind of a nice message in a way because I don't think it should be taken too literally, but it's the idea that it's not who you are, it's whether you take a step to stand up for what's right.
yeah, and I think that's a message we get again in the sequel trilogy. You know.
Definitely, for sure.
I
feel like not as much though, because
not as much,
the whole idea that like you were
but especially with Finn,
yeah.
especially with Finn though, I feel like Finn is like it's just some stormtrooper, but a stormtrooper who saw that what he was doing was wrong, and thought fighting for it was a good idea. It was like going into some stuff from I was thinking of Rise of Skywalker. It's like Janna and all those people on Kef Bir.
Mm-hmm.
They were all stormtroopers, but were they actually joining the action? Until spurred, were they actually joining the action against the First Order? No, they were just kind of sitting there on Kef Bir.
Okay.
It's an interesting message, and I think it very much ties into this part of KOTOR. I gotta say, I was expecting these 30 minutes to have more detail than the last 30 minutes. And yet, not really.
You mean graphically?
No, I mean, like, story-wise.
Story-wise, yeah, I get that.
It's like, we get some more Duros over here, we get some more missions, Zalbar. Oh, we forgot a completely big point in this. Zalbar swears a life debt to Revan.
Zalbar swears a life debt to Revan. That's pretty crazy, I think.
It is pretty crazy. And I feel like Wookiees, at this point, are impulsive. It's like, Han saves Chewie from slavery once.
I don't know if you could really say that's impulsive. I think it's probably I think it's just a product of the fact that that's the way the story has to go.
Yeah, it's like, it's Wookiees are always getting enslaved, and then their rescuers are always swearing life debts. It's like, maybe that's not such a good way to pick a life debtor, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Honestly, it feels like Zalbar doesn't really have a clear point in the story.
Interesting.
Now, there's another character.
I don't know if I would say
there's
that.
another character that we will go get to later on, who has even less of a point in the story. Juhani.
I know that character from my days as playing Galaxy of Heroes, but
she has literally no purpose in the story. I'm just gonna...
What is her purpose, shall we say then, for the developers?
I honestly don't know. I mean, her purpose in the story, I mean, we'll get to this later. I think she's, let's see. So we just watched the first hour. She's not until, she's not until, an hour and a half in. So we won't even get to her next episode. It'll be the following episode. But she just goes in there to prove how great Revan is, honestly. She's just a mechanism for how great Revan is.
Okay, perfect.
It was just a beat in the story, and then she follows you for the rest of the story, and it just feels interesting. It just, I don't know. It's fascinating to see I know they had to push KOTOR 2 out. I remember hearing that they had to push KOTOR 2 out, so the ending wasn't very fleshed out. But I'm not sure about KOTOR 1, but it would be interesting to see what, if they had more time to develop this game.
What would they have done?
Yes, I don't think they would have included Juhani.
You think maybe Juhani was supposed to have more significance and then they kind of wiped out part of it because they had to push the game?
No, I think they wrote Juhani in with a greater purpose, but then needed to go for the rest of the story, and they were like, don't see a place for Juhani in this.
Alright, yeah, I guess that's kind of what I said.
It's a little like Finn in Rise of Skywalker, honestly. It's like they had so many other things to focus on, they're just like, and Finn's in this one too!
I could go on, but I'm just gonna say I think the idea that they had to focus on other things is kind of disappointing because they had an opportunity in the Rise of Skywalker. To just digress for a second, I feel like they had an opportunity to focus in on the main characters and they didn't. That's all.
I do agree. I'm not sure what extent I agree, but I agree. Overall, what I'm fascinated with KOTOR right now is KOTOR, when I played it and when I've heard about it in the past, always felt like the separate Star Wars story. It was it didn't feel very connected. It almost felt like it was in a different universe.
Really?
And to an extent it is, because it's, 4,000 years before. But what I'm finding more and more and more and more is the similarities to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
To
Definitely.
Even the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy. And it's just fascinating, honestly. I've also saw a lot of other, with the Black Vulcars and the Pinbecks and the Jedi and Sith. I found more parallels from last time, I guess you could say. It's just interesting to see how it's the Hidden Becks are just trying to make their way. They're just simple people trying to make their way in the universes, Jango Fett would say.
Yes.
But it's I don't know. I find it fascinating that Brejik's people are willing to down and dirty this, but Hinbecks aren't. There's also this argument in there between Carth and Mission. And Carth and Bastila too, but let's talk about the argument between Carth and Mission, because I found this really fascinating.
Alright.
Do you remember the argument? It was Mission was tired of Carth calling her a little kid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
remember.
It's she was calling him an old geezer, and I remember I said to you when we were watching this, I said, "Okay, boomer." It feels very
the meme that will never die.
Meme that will never die. It feels like a very.
I do not mean it in a positive sense, mind you.
Yeah.
Not at this point.
Not at this point, no. It feels like it's a very interesting remark on... It goes back to the theme of, anyone can do this in a war. Anyone can rise up and be that person.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fascinating. There was also that argument between Carth and Bastila.
Yeah. Alright.
And it was about what a good leader was.
I remember that argument.
Yeah.
Maybe Carth's the real problem here. He seems to be just getting in arguments left and right.
Well, Carth's I've always thought of him as very guarded. A weird comparison. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna compare Carth to someone you'd never think I'm gonna compare Carth to.
Is in the Star Wars universe?
Nope. I'm gonna
Yeah, that's too broad.
I'm gonna compare Carth to Elsa from Frozen.
How did I know it was gonna be something like a Disney movie? Okay.
Okay, here's my idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very guarded people. They're never like we're gonna get to hear what Carth really thinks, but it takes a lot to get them both to say what they really think. They're all about, okay, let's get this done, let's go, let's do this, we need to get done what we need to get done. They're very committed to what they need to do.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like there's this thing that's become a meme about Carth, which is he says, I don't want to talk about it like way too much. And it almost feels like he feels very stiff at points. He feels very like
stiff. Okay.
There's not a good comparison in the main saga, but it feels like actually there is.
Oh, what is it?
Mace Windu.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
Honestly.
Really? I feel we don't even get the chance to hear what Mace Windu has to say, or whether or not he wants to say it. To be honest.
Yeah. He doesn't. It doesn't feel like he wants to say it. It feels like very defeat the Sith. Let's go. Let's do this. Defeat the Sith. We got this.
I guess, yeah.
But it was interesting because I think the argument with Carth and Bastila. I mean, what was the main thesis of Carth's argument? It was just because you're a Jedi does not mean you're a good leader.
Yeah.
And we're getting some what I'm going to coin. Oh, we're getting our first podcast coined term right now. Okay, prejudice.
Prejudice.
Yes, prejudice against Jedi.
Okay, I mean that seems like a fairly common theme through.
It is a very common
all of
theme.
Star Wars.
It is, but
distrust a Jedi.
Yeah, it's like already it's like, oh, so Jedi think they're the good leaders now. Well, here's how good leaders actually act. I'm not saying Carth is right. Carth is wrong. I think he's actually right. But I think we're seeing the prejudice across the galaxy, and I think that's honestly really fascinating. What else? It's interesting. Oh, we get to see the flashback again. The other flashback.
All right.
We get to see a little bit more this time. We see Bastila dueling Darth Revan, but then there's just an explosion.
Yeah.
We're gonna see what that is later, but there's just an explosion, and I guess that's a good way to end it, is that explosion isn't accidental. It's not just a rare shot fired.
Yeah.
It's intentional, it is directive, it is... And we'll get into why it was directed, it was intentional, and all of that in future episodes.
All right.
Okay, guys. I think that does it for this, actually, I think, shorter episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy.
Thank you so much if you're tuning in.
Yes, tune in on our Spotify page, if that's not where you're watching it already, on our Anchor page, on our website, all of that, and may the Force be with you always.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.